Good Thursday morning, everybody. I'm back at my Stephen King shelf. It's been a very long time since I filmed right here, but as promised, today I am finally going to give you my ranking of the stories in Skeleton Crew. This is a short story, This is his second collection of short stories, published in 1986, I believe. 1985. So, this was written before it, and before I make this video way too long, I'm just going to give you a brief synopsis on the 22 stories in this collection. So let's get started. At number 2, I have The Ballad of the Flexible Bullet. It is the second to last story in this collection, and it's nothing really special. It's about this group of people. They're all like writers, and they're talking about this short story or like novel that this one writer wrote, and it's just all about what the story is. So nothing too exciting. I found it kind of like boring and very hard to get through, so that's number 22, The Ballad of the Flexible Bullet. At number 21, I have Paranoid Chant. This is just a very, very short flash fiction. It's kind of like a poem, and it doesn't make much sense to me, so it's nothing really special as well, so that's number 21, Paranoid Chant. At number 20, I have, and don't kill me, Anthony Smock. This is one of his favorite stories, Mrs. Todd's Shortcut. I didn't understand this one at all. It was just about like this woman like in a Lamborghini or Ferrari or something, and she's like driving through town, and that's all I got out of that story. So again, nothing really spectacular. Those are my bottom 3. Moving on with the list, at 19 is Milkman number 1, Morning Deliveries. And this is just the introduction to the Milkman. He kind of like works with like the mob or something, and he's kind of like a hitman. So it's an interesting story, a little bit different, but it's definitely not on my bottom, but it still is on my bottom. And at number 18, I have Big Wheels, Tales of the Laundry Game, Milkman number 2. So that's just the continuation and wrap up of the Milkman saga. And at number 17, I have Here There Be Tigers. This is like one of the shortest ones in here. It's just about like a boy taking a bathroom break, and he like notices like a tiger eating somebody in the bathroom. It's kind of kooky, and it's the second story in this collection. I read it in one sitting. It's only like 8 or 9 pages, so nothing too spectacular. So at number 16, I have Uncle Otto's Truck. Now, this one was an interesting one because it had Christine vibes and all the killer car tropes. It's a possessed vehicle that goes after its owner, and the owner dies in the end. So it's a pretty interesting one, but it didn't crack my top 15, which I'm going to give to you right now. And at number 15, I have The Wedding Gig. I was actually very surprised by this one. It's about, of course, a wedding, and it's kind of like a gangster short story about like these guys like showing up this wedding. It's a pretty realistic one, and it's a pretty terrifying one as well, but I really did enjoy this one, so that's number 15. At number 14, I have The Man Who Would Not Shake Hands. Now, this one, at first I really did not care for it, but once it picked up, it had a really good twist, and it showed like this dude having the supernatural powers where every time he shook people's hands, he had them controlled to like do his bidding. So it was a really good one. So I don't need that pen anymore. Yeah, I did enjoy The Man Who Would Not Shake Hands. And at number 13 is The Reaper's Image. This one was a very good supernatural-esque story. It's just about like this man who looks into this mirror and he sees death. So, yeah, pretty good one. At number 12, I have For Owen, which was a poem written about his son and how he spends time with him. So, it's a pretty sweet poem, and it's only like 2 or 3 pages, so not too bad. At number 11, I have Beach World. Now, this is one of the 3 sci-fi short stories in here. I'm getting very close to like, well, I think I already mentioned another sci-fi in here, and that was probably The Man Who Would Not Shake Hands. But anyway, Beach World is set in the future, and it's about like these 2 astronauts who find life on another planet, and come to find out it's actually Earth like 400 years in the future or something. I forgot. But I really did enjoy that one, so that's Beach World. And in my top 10, starting off, I have Word Processor of the Gods. This was a very, very good one. It's about like this old typewriter that predicts everything that you write come true. Kind of like reminded me of like The Blob That Ate Everyone, which is one of my favorite Goosebumps books. Come at me, I don't care. But anyway, it was a very, very good one, and it had a very tragic ending. Not going to give it away. Just read it, and I'm pretty sure you'll like it. So, that's number 10. At number 9, I have The Monkey. This one was definitely one of the strongest ones out of all his short stories. He's written like over 200. So, The Monkey is about like this family who obtains this cursed monkey toy, like the one with like the symbols, and the monkey just like predicts death upon the family. So very fun one, very scary, and definitely worth a read. At number 8, I have Grandma. Grandma was a very, very messed up one. It's about like this kid looking over his dying grandmother, but there's a hidden agenda towards the grandmother. She ends up being like a witch or something, and she does die, but then the kid like sees her in his nightmares. So it's a very twisted one and a very scary one. And there is actually a movie called Mercy that came out in 2016 based on this story. So I haven't seen it, but it might be in my repertoire pretty soon. So that's number 8, Grandma. At number 7, I have Cain Rose Up. This one surprised me so, so much. And it was a pretty brutal one too. It was just about like this man and his college roommate, and the man in the story kind of like had mental issues, and this ending like snuck up on me, like he just randomly started shooting people outside of his window, kind of like a DC sniper kind of situation, and that story like blew me away. It was a very, very good one. I really enjoyed that one. So I have, whoa, at number 5, I have The Jaunt, another good sci-fi short story, and one of his longer ones, but this is a very, very popular one. It's just about like a teleportation device that gets people to where they're going, and it might mess you up to death. So, another very good one. I really did enjoy The Jaunt. It's not my favorite, but it's definitely worthy of a top 5 mention. So, I have 4 more stories left, and they are with number 4, Nona. Where to get started with this one? It's about like a man who picks up a mysterious girl who may be alive to him, but then turns out it's kind of like a vanishing hitchhiker kind of deal. I loved the I love this story from beginning to end, and the ending had a very, very good twist. So that's my number 4 pick, Nona. And at number 3, I have The Mist. The opening story in this very underrated collection. We all know what The Mist is about. It's about a group of survivors who take refuge in a supermarket, and creatures wreak havoc on the town. And that's pretty much all I'm going to say about that. But you also have Mrs. Carmody, kind of like a religious zealot who turns the tide towards the survivors. She forms her own cult. So the ending to this, compared to the movie, I thought the movie was a little bit better. The ending to this is kind of like ambiguous. So it's one of those rare occasions where I prefer the movie over the story. So that's number 3, The Mist. Top 2. Number 2 is The Raft. One of my all-time favorite King stories. In this one and in Creepshow 2. So The Raft is basically like an 80s slasher short, and it's about like these group of kids who decide to go swimming, but get picked off one by one by this oil slick, and there's like no help to be had, so they ultimately succumb to the tarry blackness. Very good story. Number 1, it's going to surprise a lot of people, but this one has a very, very good spot in my heart because it's kind of a sad one, but it's an ambiguous meaning of the afterlife. My number 1 pick is The Reach. This story tore me up emotionally. I mean, I was like really starting to understand the whole meaning towards it. It's just about this elderly woman who is kind of like alone in life, and she tries to go out towards the Reach, which is kind of like a parallel universe where she sees her past loved ones. She sees her husband, friends, and some people who may have died in the woods. Well, actually, the Reach has taken place in the woods, so she ultimately freezes to death, and she dies, and she is part of the Reach. And yeah, that ending like really, really tore me up. So very, very good story. Overall, I gave this collection a 4.5 out of 5, which I rounded it up to a 5. So if you haven't read Skeleton Crew, definitely give it a shot soon. There are some stinkers in here, but there are some really, really good ones. So that is the wrap up of my Skeleton Crew video. Coming up very soon, probably in the next week or two, I'll have a Goosebumps TBR and, of course, a book haul. So look out for that. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Stay safe and awesome, and keep reading. Bye.